I just want to take a quick minute and record a quick video. Here's my little puppy when she was brand new. So I finished grading everybody's discussion board. Really good job on the post and the peer responses. That's exactly what we're looking for. You know, the discussion board takes the place of us not meeting in face-to-face. You don't get to listen to me ramble and lecture. You don't really get to interact with your peers. And this is a way to foster that communication in the online environment. So first of all, good job. The next assignment that we have coming up is the burning question. And you can see the due date. For this one, you know, there's some specific things that are supposed to be there, not necessarily a particular format. As long as you have the information there, I'm happy. You know, this one is more of an outline to really get it started moving forward. I did get the link working to the video I recorded last week, so if you get a chance, go take a look at that. And then the next thing we have upcoming will be our Group 3 presentations. All the groups are set and all the groups have picked out a topic. It's a good deal there. As we move forward, we'll pick out a time that we all can get together and sort of present these to each other. The other thing that I do want to cover is APA. So some of you did a really good job with APA, some okay. Didn't really count off on the discussion boards. And on the discussion boards, I'm not looking for margins or formatting or headings or headers, that kind of thing. You really can't do that on a discussion board. We'll be looking at that kind of stuff for the papers that we actually do. So hopefully you have the APA guide that you actually bought. If you didn't, that's fine. There's some free resources out there. One that I like a lot is called Purdue OWL. And if you just type in Purdue OWL APA 7, it'll take you right to the website. Now, it's interesting to note that APA just updated their guide, so there's information on Purdue's website about the 6th edition as well as the 7th, and we've gone and switched to the 7th. If you click on their website, it'll take you here. It talks about some changes in the 7th edition. But come over here to the side, and you'll see where it says APA Style 7th edition. Again, this tells you, the first section tells you about some of the changes. Close that pop-up. This talks about some stylistic things, like what type of voice you write in, you know, some basic formatting. And I think one of the sections that we'll be most interested in will actually be the how we do our citations. All right, so just expand that, and then you'll see just a general format. This talks about how you set up your paper, right? The margins, what font, how you set up a title page. I think that's a little bit easier if you actually see a sample. But then you also see a section that says in-text citations and the basics. I suggest, again, if you don't have APA style guide, each one of you to go ahead and take a look at this. Some of you did really good. Some made a few mistakes. No big deal on the first discussion board. And again, we're trying to learn. But the basics of APA, so you give credit where credit is due. Just in general, especially with graduate level, I would suggest try to avoid using direct quotes, unless it's very pertinent, right? You know, you're quoting a famous quote, that's a little different. But in general, we sort of expect you to read the information and synthesize it and put it into your own words. So try to limit direct quotes. And that actually makes your citation a little bit easier. If you don't put a direct quote, then you don't even have to put a page number of where you got that quote from. That's typically what I do. I'll typically write a sentence, and then at the end of the sentence, I'll put, you know, the author's, like right here, last name, comma, and then the year of the citation. Like I said, if I'm not doing a really direct quote, I don't even put the page number. You can, it's not that big a deal. It gives you some examples if you're going to do quotations, short quotations versus long quotations. And then it shows you how you can do a summary or paraphrase. It's typically what I do. Okay. So it sort of shows you how to do the in-text citation, which I think everybody did a good job there. If we go to the next one, in-text citations, author slash authors, it shows you how to do a citation when you have more than one author. So it's the same basic format, except you don't have to list all the authors' names. So especially with APA 7, you only have to list the first author. You don't have to list both names. It's just the first author and et al, with the period after all, and then comma in the year. Now there's some exceptions, right? You know, if you have the same name or something, you might have to do something a little bit different. And it gives you all kinds of examples to go from. Reading if you have an unknown author, but typically it's going to be the author's last name, and then you're going to follow it by the year of the article or the website. So take a look at this. This will give you some examples of how to do one author, two authors, etc. You're doing two different authors in the same sentence, right? So it sort of covers most of the things that you'll come across. And then the other one, which I thought was very helpful, was citing electronic sources, right? As this has become more acceptable, citing websites. And it used to be you try to avoid citing websites, but there's a lot of good information out there on websites now. Try to, again, stick with reputable sources. A .gov or .edu, those tend to be more reputable than .coms. But if you find some really good information, then that's okay. Balance it out. Don't have all of your reference .coms. We really want peer-reviewed journal articles. Those are really considered the best. But feel free to use websites as well. But take a look at this, and this will show you how to cite a website. So one of the things that's new with APA 7 is that you list the author's name as well as the name of the article and as well as the name of the website itself. So let's take a look at an example of one. Let's see. So the basic format is going to be, author's name, the year and date if it's listed, the title of the article, the title of the page, the name of the website, and then the URL. So if we take a look at this one right here, I'm going to click on this one. Let's see if I can get it to open up in a new window. So the first thing I see when I come to this page is I see the name of the article. Laziness does not exist. Now, when I first looked at this, I considered this a subtitle. Right? So in a subtitle, you normally would put laziness does not exist and then a colon, but unforeseen barriers do. When you list the title of a work, you only capitalize that first letter. Right? So if I was going to list this, laziness is capitalized and nothing else would be. If I was going to consider this a subtitle, I would put a colon and then capitalize the word but, and then the rest of it would be uncapitalized. So only laziness and but. Now, how did they choose to do it? They chose only to list the name of the article itself. Laziness does not exist. And you see it's in italics. Sometimes that's hard to do in a discussion board, but definitely on a paper, make sure you italicize the title. You see the author's name. Again, last name, first initial, and they just took that from right here. And then you also see the date. A lot of times a date is listed, sometimes it's not. And then you see the date. Now, with electronic sources, you can also put the date that you accessed the web page. Typically, you don't need to do that. The only time you might do that is if the information might change. But if we take a look at this, this was published in 2018. This is not being updated every day or every few months or something. This was something that was published in 2018, so you don't need to put the date that you really accessed it. Technically, it's not wrong, but it's just not necessary. All right, so we got the name, we got the date that it was published, we have the title. Again, I probably would have put the subtitle, but they chose not to. Then they put the name of the site, and they put medium. Now, how do they know what that was? Well, if I look up here in the top left corner, there's just an M. All right, I hover over it, I can actually click it. So the name of this site is not, human parts. It's actually medium. I clicked the M, and it told me medium. So go back. How else could I find that? I could actually scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. And sometimes you feel like you are playing detective. There it is down at the bottom of the page. Most websites will have an About section. You could click About, and there it is again. So that's where they got that from. Let me go back. So they've got name, date, title, website name, and then the URL. Okay. And again, they just copied and pasted the URL. So since we will be citing websites, definitely take a look at that as well. As far as formatting, when you actually start writing papers, again, you can go to the formatting section. So APA is very specific about the margins, 1-inch margins, Times New Roman font. There's a title page. I'll try to actually put up a sample document. Here, let me just pull one up real quick. I'll actually show you one of the tools that I use. I use Perla. It's just, and you can see I use Grammarly too, the free version. Perla is great. There is a cost associated with it. I'll show you how it works. I'm just going to click New. It's just an add-in within Word. Again, there is a cost associated with it. But you just answer the questions. What's the title of my paper? The title of my paper is Dr. Talley is the Bomb. It's already got the name of my name of the author. It's got the school. Obviously, I just graduated from King, so I was doing tons of papers for King. I'll change that to Tusculum. And then that's really all I need. Create the paper. And you can see it created a paper. It gave it the title, put the author's name, and it created the margins. The margins are correct at the top. It put a page number automatically. Thankfully, they've sort of kind of got rid of that running head. And I'm ready to type. Okay, so I could say Dr. Talley is the best according to this website. So now how we do a citation. Again, one of the reasons I like it is because if you've already created the citation, there's a library that it keeps track of for you. So I could add something from the library, and it would show probably the several hundred citations that I've created already. So once you create it once for tapping, you just click it and inserts it. But generally, what we'll be doing, or what you will be doing, would be, computer's moving a little slow. You'd be clicking a new citation. So what type of citation am I looking for? I could choose book, grade literature, all kinds of choices here. So let's do journal, a journal article, and then you just go down and you just sort of fill in the blanks. What's the author's name? Right. Tupac Shakur, and go ahead and put the full name. It's smart enough only to put the first initial. You can add, if there's more than one author, you just keep adding. Biggie Smalls. That's enough authors. What's the title of the article? It even tells you how to put it in title case. So, the best teacher on earth. What's the name of the article? The article, the journal is called Teachers Worldwide. And here you put it in the way the journal is listed, right? You don't just use the title case. What year was it published in? 2019. Volume number 14. Issue 22. If you have a page number where it came from, you could put that in there. The DOI or OI or the URL. DOI stands for Document Object Identifier. You will see, let me go over here to a website, you will see a lot of documents will have a DOI, so I could hear and I could search for childhood diabetes. I can find an article, and here you see how there's a DOI, it's basically URL listed. That's what it's talking about. You could type that into a browser and it would take you straight there. So I'm just going to copy that, go back over here, paste it. If it didn't have a DOI, you could just put the URL in, same thing. Retrieval date, again, you don't have to put that in, and that's more if that article has the chance to change. Next. You can give it this article or this citation a nickname if you use it a lot. I usually don't. I just hit create. So, not telling you to go out and buy Perla. Again, when I bought it, it was a one-time fee. I think now it's a subscription. But you can see it created a page for me, a reference page. It put the citation in the proper format. It even did the dangling, or the hanging indent, right? Line 2, 3, 4, 5, whatsoever is indented versus the first line being indented. You can see it's got the author's names. It put the year. It put the title, the journal that it came from, and so forth. And then if I wanted to do the citation, or if I want to put the citation there, I click there, add citation, and then it says, is there a page number? Yeah, not a page number, because I put it in my own words, and there it is. So that's one tool. I had to do a lot of writing this over the summer. Pretty familiar with APA, not so much with MLA. So I stumbled across a free tool called Zotero. Let me shrink all of this down. It's free. Zotero might be another option you might want to look at. There's a little bit of a learning curve. It will do APA citations. It will do MLA citations. You can actually just put in, maybe easier if I just show you. So you want to have Zotero open. It runs as an add-in in the background, sort of. And if you're on a web page, so here's this article. Scroll up to the top. So I do not have this in my Zotero database. If I click this little icon right there, that's all I did. Do one little click. And if I go over to Zotero, you can see how it's actually put in, sorry about that, you can see how it's actually put in that citation for me. Laziness does not exist. Now, it's pretty good. You have to go through and double check it and make sure it did it correctly, but it created it for me. It did it all. It's like magic. And then if I was in Microsoft Word, you have an add-in for Zotero. You would just start typing your text, and then if you're ready to put your citation in, you click Add Citation, and it's asking what type of format. We're going to choose APA 7, and then you can even just click down, do Classic View, and you can pick. So there's that citation I just created. Laziness does not exist. You can see it put it in correctly, price 2020. And then you would tell it to generate your bibliography or your reference page. All right. Hopefully it did it right. So that's not going to do any of the formatting. Well, it didn't do it. So it's not going to do any of the formatting for you, right? It's not going to do the actually, it did put the reference right there. See what it wanted me to do was to create a new page. Call to references. Then I would have to bold it and center it myself. And then unbold, uncenter. And then add in my my bibliography. And I think it's because I got one up there. So you see there's some quirks with Zotero. There's a little learning curve with it. But that's a free tool you might check out. Anyway, I hope that helped out a little bit. I'll try to make a blank template that you can just type into if you need help with the formatting. Because again, APA can be a little tricky. Let's see, one of the things that it really wants you to do is to, again, work on it's really particular about the margins, how you do your headings. All right, so here, we've got the title across the top in bold. If you're going to do a section, a whole new section, maybe you're going to structure your paper to say background, and then you would start typing your text. And then you had a section called data analysis, and then you type your text. All right, so these sections, each of these sections have to be formatted a certain way within APA. And if you had another section underneath this data analysis, this would be called your second level. Maybe you had something that said quantitative. Let's see if I can spell that. And then you had your text there. And then qualitative. And your text there. Again, love spell check. So, APA is specific about those second level headings. Right. If I can remember correctly, you're supposed to center those and bold them. So APA can be a little picky about again, margins, sections, page numbers, running head versus no running head. There's some, like I said, there's some big changes from APA 6 to APA 7. So, especially if you're thinking about continuing on, maybe it's worth investing in a program like Perla, which is just you know, plug and click. If not, then definitely invest in the APA manual, and then look at your free resources again, like Purdue out. All right, that's all I got. Hope it helped. Let me know if you have any questions.